Chapter 8. The Glacial Men. Well, my friends, we are now going to say something about the Glacial Men. It is urgent to understand the process of revolution of the axes of the Earth, which carry different glaciations. We have been told that before the past glaciations, the poles of the Earth were in the zone that today corresponds to the equatorial line, in such form that what was the equator became the poles and vice versa. This originated the sinking of Atlantis. It is clear that for such a reason the terrestrial geography changed. Vegetable coal has been found in the North Pole, and in Siberia, in the banks of the big rivers, they have discovered antediluvian animals that perished from the cold and ice. Such creatures, completely tropical, were surprised by the ice and the snow from a moment to another, and then they perished. The first human race that existed in the world lived in the North Polar Cap, in the secret island. Such region was tropical and was, as we have already said, in the equatorial zone, although later, due to the revolution of the axis of the Earth, it came to occupy the place that has at the moment. The first race that lived, then, in that region, was completely protoplasmatic. The bodies of the people were ductile, elastic. They could become very huge or very small at will. They didn't have the physical consistency of the current humanity. However, the people of such race were happy. They perceived the world and the things in an integral, complete form. They saw not only the merely physical, but could also see the soul and the spirit of all beings and things. The whole Earth then had a beautiful blue intense color with their ocean and mountains. Although it seems incredible, the first race that existed in the world was of a beautiful black color. But it is a little difficult to understand by the current people that in the cheekbones of those people and in their faces in general, in spite of being of a race of color, a certain color and certain shade similar to that of the fire could be found. The system of reproduction was completely different to the present one. The human beings reproduced in a form very similar to that of the division of the organic cells. We already know that a cell divides in 2 and that the 2 divide in 4 and the 4 in 8, etc., etc. So also the organism of the father-mother, totally androgynous, because it was neither masculine nor feminine, but had both polarities at the same time. At a given moment it divided in 2. From the father-mother came off, so to say, the son, and this was a deeply religious event. To many people it will seem strange a race of androgynous, but it is obvious that the first human race was so. The people of the protoplasmatic race had marvelous temples, grandiose cities, and a very rich divine wisdom. At that time lived the angel Uriel, who had a human physical body. He wrote a grandiose book with Nordic runic characters, and completed a beautiful mission teaching the humanity of that time. This protoplasmatic race is the Adam Solus of which the Bible speaks, that Adam from which the Eve of the Hebraic mythology had not yet been extracted. The centuries have passed, many millions of years, and that race, in spite of having actually transformed into other races, is still preserved in very original ways, and this is something that could surprise the auditory. I mean that not all the individuals of that race disappeared from the face of the Earth. There is a certain group of such primeval people that still lives here on the Earth. That mysterious group resides at the moment in a secret underground city located exactly in the North Pole. Those are the Glacial Men who, for the benefit of this unfortunate aching humanity, still exist. What is most astonishing is that these individuals or group corresponding to the first race, in spite of having been isolated in order to avoid all those organic transformations that gave origin to the millions of human beings that populate the face of the Earth, have not only conserved their original purity, but also, and this is the most notable thing, achieved a unique, special, extraordinary metamorphosis. At the moment the members of such group have beautiful appearances of a human size similar to ours, perfect bodies of flesh and blood and great wisdom. They are really the live prototype of what all the people of the Earth should be. There is not doubt that their underground city under the polar ice is formidable, marvelous. They possess a high ultramodern technology. They have mechanical apparatuses that correspond to a remote future. They are therefore advanced forward in time. It is clear that such glacial men will help us very especially in the future wars, through medicine, curing sick persons, healing the wounded, or through atomic and chemical sciences, trying to attend to the victims of the microbial bombs or of the nuclear energy, etc., etc., etc. They could help people and pass unnoticed in any place. 1. Why has that race been conserved without mixing with ours? With great pleasure I answer the gentleman. It is clear that the men of the first race went through many transformations before becoming Hyperborean. These souls, although they also were androgynous, reproduced by means of something that could be called budding. Such system is very similar to that of the budding of the plants. Any vegetable bud removed off its original trunk can be transformed into another plant. So also, of the body of those Hyperborean came off egg-shaped spores. Such spores became new independent organisms. They after the Hyperborean came the lemurs, hermaphrodite people in the flesh that reproduced by budding. From an ovary came off an egg that after certain time opened up in order to allow a creature come out that was fed by the chests of the father-mother. Such Lemurian race was divided into opposite sexes after many millions of years. That event is symbolized in the Bible with the allegory in which Jehovah extracts Eve from one of Adam's ribs. It is clear that after having divided the human beings into opposite sexes, reproduction was carried out by means of sexual cooperation. That is the system that we have at the moment. As you have been listening, the primitive original race became other races through time and the centuries. It went through incessant metamorphosis, evolutions and involutions, etc., etc., etc. But there was certain group, I repeat, of that primitive original race, that withdrew from those successive metamorphoses, and that was conserved pure and vestal until our days. That is the Glacial Men. 2. Is it possible to visit those Glacial Men? Already in a past conference appearing in this book I said that it is possible to put the physical body inside the fourth dimension. We then taught the key. We explained that each individual has his particular mother nature and that if we concentrated deeply in her in a few instants of after becoming sleepy, requesting and begging her the favor of putting our physical body inside the unknown dimension, she would help us in this sense. We then affirmed that only was left to get up carefully from our bed, conserving the sleep as if we were somnambulistic, but of course with the consciousness very awake. In these circumstances, floating in the surrounding environment of the fourth dimension, we could visit the city of the Glacial Men. It is clear that what is needed is faith, much faith, love for the Christ, true yearning. Only so is victory possible. 3. Can we visit them without their permission? Kind young lady, permit me to tell you in emphatic tone that for the unworthy all doors are close, with exception of one, that of repentance.